Hi everyone, it's Carissa at Sprinkled with Glitter, and I am here with a card project for you. This is going to be my last card project of the Christmas season, but stay tuned to my blog and my YouTube channel because I will have a giveaway that will be posted on Friday of this week, and there will be some other posts coming up before Christmas. So just stay tuned. Today I'm going to be using the Technique Tuesday Ali Edwards. This is the Hello December stamp set. And then I'm also going to be using the stencil by Simon Says Stamp. And I'm going to start by making my piece here for the front of the card with this stencil and some Wendy Vecchi embossing paste. I've been seeing this and wanting to try it, so this is actually my first project using it. I'm just going to adhere my piece of paper here. This is Nina's Solar White cardstock. I'm adhering it down to my craft mat with some Post-it tape. And this craft mat is the same craft mat. It's the Ranger craft mat, but I've cut mine down into a more manageable size because I don't like dealing with the huge one. So a lot of times my projects are small enough that I just cut this into 4 pieces and use it that way. So once I have my paper adhered down, and I'm just doing kind of the edges here. I may have to move some of these back a little bit. It looks like I went in a little too deep on these. And then I will adhere my stencil over the top of the paper. This paper is cut to 2 3/4 by 5 1/2. And I'm just going to center my stencil on this and then just adhere it down with a little more Post-it tape at the top and bottom of the stencil. Okay, so now that I have that adhered, I'm going to bring in the white embossing paste from Wendy Vecchi, and I don't have any fancy tools. I'm just using a piece of scrap cardstock, and I will just scoop some of this out, and then it's a lot of fun to play with this. It reminds me of like my preschool days when you would play in the Elmer's paste. So I'm just going to scrape this over the top of this stencil and just kind of work it into the lines of the stencil. And then I'll go back and I can scrape off all the excess and put it back into the jar. So really it doesn't take a whole lot of this. You'll see me scrape up quite a bit out of the jar, but then you'll see me replace it back as well. So I'm just working it into the grooves there. And then can just go over and just scrape it off. Just kind of leveling it out, and you see all that I'm putting back into the jar now as well. And now I have that done, and I will just pick up my stencil here. A little bit extra right there. And then I don't know how well the camera will pick this up, so I'm just going to pick this up and kind of tilt it up for you. Not sure if you can see that. Maybe if I turn off a light, it's better. I don't know. So there you have the embossing. It's a raised image on top of that. Now, I am going to run and rinse off my stencil, and then I will be right back. The next thing I'm going to do is just add a little bit of glitter to this piece, and I'm using a piece of scrap paper here. I'm going to fold it in half. I have lots of scrap paper because I printed out a lot of things from nursing school, and I have a whole bin of it. So, and I'm going to be using the Tim Holtz Distress Glitter in Rock Candy, and I'm just going to sprinkle this all over the top of that embossing paste. So in the end, I'll have a raised kind of glittery image to put on the front of my card, just adding some sparkle and fun to it. Just going to tap this off. So here is what my finished piece looks like, and I will mount this eventually to the front of my card, but I'm going to bring in my card base here, and this is a piece of Pool Party cardstock from Stampin' Up, and it is cut to 4 1/4 by 11. I'm just going to score it at 5 1/2 to make my card base. And I can fold that and crease it with my bone folder. And I've also cut a piece of real red cardstock from Stampin' Up. And I've used the banners and arrows set from Lifestyle Crafts. This is the die here. It's one of my favorite. You've probably seen me use it if you've been watching my videos for a while. One of my favorite sets from Lifestyle Crafts, and I use it often. It comes with several size banners and also some arrows, and I'll link that in the description of this video and also over at my blog. And I have my stamp already mounted on my Martha Stewart stamp press here. This is from the Hello December stamp set from Technique Tuesday, and I have it mounted, but I can't figure out which way I had the banner. So it goes just like that, and I'm going to white heat emboss this onto this red banner shape. So I'm just going to ink up my stamp using some Versamark ink, and I'm going to prep the cardstock using my EK Success powder tool so that I don't get any stray embossing powder sticking to areas that I don't want. And I can just stamp this down onto my cardstock. And you can see I've shaped that stamp. It's a clear stamp, so I was able to shape it into the shape of my banner. I have my sentiment piece done, and that will mount on the front of the card. I'll set that aside, and then I'm going to bring in 3 different kinds of washi tape here. I have this gold dot. I believe I will try to link all of these in the video in the description, but I don't know where all of them are from, so it may be tricky. I have a kind of blue wood grain pattern, and then I have a silver chevron that's a little bit wider here. I'll pull it out so you can see it. So there, those are the 3 I'm going to be using, and I'm just going to be using them to add almost as pattern paper on the side of this card base here. And so I am just going to start with the gold dot, and I'm going to put it all the way over to the right edge of the card and just put it along that line. And then I don't need to trim it off evenly right now. I can just kind of leave it like that. And I'll go back and trim them all at the same time. And now I'm going to use the wood grain, and I will just run that kind of over the top of the gold dot here. And then finally I'll use the silver chevron. And I will put that overlapping the wood grain. All right, and now that I got those on there the way that I like it, I will just trim the tops off. So that's what that looks like there. And then I'm going to start mounting my pieces on here. So this is the embossed piece that I did earlier, and I am just going to put that on some dimensional adhesive. All right, and now I can mount my banner piece, and that will sit right here, and I want it to be elevated above the ho 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 piece that's on there. So what I'm going to do is I'll put one small thing of foam adhesive on the Christmas side, and then I'll double up the foam adhesive on the right side of that piece, and that way it will let me put that on there. And for my final step, I'm just going to add some various embellishments to the front of my card. I have some Kelly Perky rhinestones from Simon Says Stamp. Also have some enamel dots from my Mind's Eye, and these dots from Recollections, the Michaels brand. And I'm just going to be using a mixture of all of these things to put on the front of the card. I've already picked them out and kind of cut them out and allowed me to place these and kind of play with them. So I'm just going to find what I want to put on there and the various places that I want to put it, and then just adhere those down. Okay, so it's not your imagination. My card did change sizes. I went ahead and peeled up this ho 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 piece, cut a 1/2 inch off of the card base. So now the card is 3 3/4 by 5.5. And I just felt like the proportions were better and it allowed this banner to kind of hang off the end, which I thought was fun. But you can see I just added a few embellishments here, and that is my card today. I hope you enjoyed this video. There are links to the supplies used in this project down below here on YouTube and also over at my blog at Sprinkled with Glitter. Thanks for stopping by today, and I hope you have a wonderful day.